Europe is making strides in its transition to clean energy. Wind and solar power are booming across the continent. In 2023, a record-breaking 22% of Europe's electricity came from these renewable sources. This shift is driven by both necessity and opportunity. The urgency of the climate crisis demands a rapid shift away from fossil fuels. Simultaneously, the declining costs of renewables make them an economically viable alternative. However, this progress is threatened by a critical bottleneck: Europe's outdated electricity grids. Designed for a centralized energy system reliant on fossil fuels, these grids are ill-equipped to handle the decentralized and intermittent nature of renewables. The existing infrastructure struggles to transport large amounts of wind and solar power from where it is generated to where it is needed. This mismatch between energy generation and grid capacity risks undermining Europe's clean energy ambitions. The benefits of transitioning to clean energy extend far beyond environmental concerns. Europe's reliance on fossil fuel imports, particularly from Russia, has exposed the continent's vulnerability to geopolitical tensions and price volatility. In contrast, wind and solar power offer a pathway to greater energy independence. By harnessing its own renewable resources, Europe can reduce its dependence on foreign powers and insulate itself from the economic shocks of global energy markets. Furthermore, the transition to clean energy promises significant economic benefits. The expansion of renewable energy infrastructure is creating jobs and driving innovation. Meanwhile, lower operating costs for wind and solar power translate into lower electricity prices for consumers. This is particularly significant in the current economic climate as Europe grapples with soaring energy costs and a cost of living crisis. The transition to clean energy offers a path to a more sustainable and affordable energy future for all Europeans. The transition to a clean energy future is being hampered by a lack of adequate grid infrastructure. Many European countries are finding that their existing grids are not equipped to handle the influx of renewable energy. Outdated transmission lines and limited cross-border interconnections create bottlenecks that prevent the efficient distribution of wind and solar power. For example, Germany's ambitious energy agenda, or energy transition, has faced significant challenges due to grid constraints. Despite being a leader in renewable energy installations, Germany struggles to transport wind power generated in the north to industrial centers in the south. This mismatch between supply and demand has resulted in curtailment, where wind turbines are switched off even when wind conditions are favorable, simply because the grid cannot handle the excess power. Such inefficiencies highlight the urgent need for grid modernization and expansion to keep pace with the growth of renewables. Addressing the gridlock requires a two-pronged approach. Firstly, Europe must invest heavily in upgrading and expanding its transmission infrastructure. This includes building new high-voltage power lines both within and between countries to break down regional bottlenecks and facilitate the flow of renewable energy across the continent. Such investments will require significant political will and financial resources, but they are essential to unlock the full potential of Europe's clean energy transition. Secondly, Europe must embrace innovative grid management solutions. This includes investing in smart grid technologies that can optimize energy flows in real time, integrating energy storage systems to balance the intermittency of renewables, and promoting demand-side management to reduce peak loads. By embracing these innovative approaches, Europe can enhance grid flexibility and maximize the integration of renewable energy sources. Political momentum is crucial. Governments must prioritize grid development and streamline permitting processes to ensure that infrastructure projects are not unnecessarily delayed.